everyone. My name's Jessica Leitch. I just want to thank you all for coming. This is my first Relay for Life event. First, I thought I'd talk a little bit about my story. We all have our own stories and have had different journeys. Here's mine. Just over a year ago, I noticed a lump, which Google informed me was probably nothing since most breast lumps are non-cancerous, and less than 7% of breast cancers occur in women under 40. But just to be safe, I went to my doctor, and that was Wednesday, April 22nd of last year, thinking she would tell me it's nothing to worry about. Instead, what happened is she said she was sending me to the breast clinic at Sanford the following day for an ultrasound. I was scared, but in trying to remain positive, I used humor to lighten my load. My friends helped me with that. Kelly named my lump Orville, because why wouldn't my breast lump be an old man named Orville? No offense if there's any Orvilles out there. And honestly, at 35, why would any of us think that I was going to have cancer? At that time, I was wishing for a fluid-filled cyst, because that would mean that it wasn't cancer. I never wanted a fluid-filled cyst more in my whole life than I did that night. So the next day, I went to the breast clinic, which 2 days previously, I didn't even know was a thing. And here's where my nightmare started spiraling out of control. I remember laying there looking at the images of Orville on the ultrasound screen. I'm no ultrasound expert, but the black blob looked pretty scary to me. I started to worry even more when after the ultrasound they didn't tell me it was nothing. Instead, it led to a mammogram. And at that point, I was still hopeful the mammogram would show that Orville was a nobody, just a fluid-filled chump. Instead, what happened is I was told I would be having a biopsy. So I had the biopsy, and they told me that I probably wouldn't hear anything until after the weekend. However, the next day, Friday, April 24th, I received a phone call from a doctor who informed me I have cancer. Cancer? Cancer. Wrong number. Just kidding. Cancer? Are you sure? So obviously what happened is I fell to pieces. While still trying to process that tidbit, like 20 minutes later, Roger Maris was calling. Well, not Roger Maris himself. They act really fast. So then I was told I'd be going in the following week to meet my team of doctors. I now have a team of doctors? Do they know I'm only 35? That's too young. That day contained the two worst phone calls of my life. The call from the doctor telling me I had cancer, and the worst and hardest phone call of my life, when I had to call my mom and tell her that her baby girl had cancer. Nothing can prepare you for that, for those words, Mama, I have cancer. Especially considering that 2 months prior, her sister, my Aunt Patty, was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. Speaking of my Aunt Patty, where are you, Patty? Just on Wednesday, after her 15-month battle, she just found out she's in remission, so. Okay, back to me. I remember all the days up until that appointment with my new team of doctors. I was, of course, on the internet, so with the help of Google, I had somehow convinced myself that I was going to have a really easy kind of cancer, which doesn't actually really exist. But at that time, I had convinced myself that it did. Surely they'd just cut it out, and surely I wouldn't need chemo or radiation. Surely there's no way I would be unable to go back to work for 8 months. So I spent the 5 hours at Roger Maris finding out what Orville was and how they were going to kill him. I had invasive ductal carcinoma, meaning it had spread to other tissues. The type I have is called triple negative, which at first I thought sounded pretty good. I remember when the doctor was telling me that my cancer was negative for the 3 breast cancer hormones, I was happy. I think I even fist pumped. I was for a fleeting moment relieved that indeed I did have a super easy type of cancer and that Orville was nothing. Well, by the look on my doctor's face, I soon learned that it turns out that triple negative is not a good thing. The name triple negative is because my cancer did not express any of the 3 typical hormone receptors found in breast cancer. Only about 10% of breast cancers is triple negative. It means my cancer was aggressive and harder to treat. It means there is no known targeted treatment and the recurrence rate is higher. Is this snowing? I was informed I would receive 20 weeks of chemo followed by 2 months of daily radiation. I remember when he told me 20 weeks of chemo, I about fell over. I remember asking him, 20 weeks? You mean like 5 months? And I learned that because my cancer is so aggressive, my chemo would be aggressive and I would lose my hair after the second treatment. Then he told me not to worry because I would be getting a prescription for a wig. A prescription wig? That's a thing? Yep. I don't think I need to go into the details of how horrible the surgery and chemo and radiation experience was. I think we know how awful that stuff is and how amazing it is at the same time. I just want to take a moment to thank Roger Maris Cancer Center for saving my life. People say that I kicked cancer's ass. In all reality, all I did was show up and do what I was told to do. Dr. Gatow, Dr. Foster, Dr. Stover, my 2 PAs, Annie and Aaron, my MP Lori, my radiation therapist Mary Jo and Erica, and all of the nurses, they're the ones that kicked cancer's ass. And I'm eternally thankful to each and every one of them. Here's just a couple of things having cancer taught me. You don't realize how important nose hair is until you don't have any. I learned what bone pain is. I learned that your feet can both be numb and hurt at the same time. I discovered a whole lineup of daytime TV that I didn't know existed. Did you know there's a show called Parking Wars? And did you know Dog the Bounty Hunter is truly a kind and caring man? And I learned that I am more loved than I ever knew. I truly have the most amazing husband, family, friends, and coworkers, and I love them. And I also learned that no matter how awesome they all are, don't trust any of them to tell you if your eyebrows are on crooked. I've learned that I'm stronger than I know, and I no longer fear anything. And that's the reason I'm here today giving this speech. I'm not a public speaker. I've never done this before, but I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. That's also the reason I'm back in school now on my path, to become a nurse practitioner. It's not that I'm not happy being a registered nurse, but I've learned that I can pretty much do anything, and going to grad school no longer scares me. Thanks, but I had one more thing. So today means a lot to me. Honestly, writing this speech was very hard for me. I had to think about things that I don't like reliving. But this has been a week of milestones for me. It all started when I first noticed that I had lost a very special bracelet. My friend Piper gave me a bracelet when I was first diagnosed. It had the evil protective eye on it, to ward away any evil and protect me. I wore that bracelet every day for the past year. And a few days ago, after a fun day on the beach, actually Saturday, it was like, almost 90? Fun day on the beach with my bestie Jed and my favorite 6-year-old Jackson, I noticed it was gone. Vanished from my wrist. I frantically text Piper and her response was, well, I think it just means it served its purpose and its spirit moved on and you don't need it anymore. And I think she's right. The second milestone is yesterday was my last day of Live Strong class at the YMCA. If you aren't familiar with the Live Strong program, it's a free 12-week program to help cancer survivors regain their strength after cancer treatments. Caitlin Anderson runs the program, and she is an angel. I can't say enough about how much the program has meant to me, and of course, the third milestone is being here today and giving this speech and taking part in this ceremony. So next week, I'm on my own. No bracelet to protect me, no Live Strong group to build me up and make me strong. It's just me, but you know what? I think I think I'm going to be fine. We don't know how strong we are until being strong is the only choice we have. Thank you.